finally happening. I can't believe it's finally happening. It's actually happening. We're finally getting the 86 tuned. Guys, it's been a long journey. It's time. It's time. It's time. What's up, guys? 007 here, and I don't know if you guys could tell by the tone of my voice, but I am super jazzed up for tonight. So what happened is my my tuner called me and he said that the car is going on the dyno tonight and to come by. So I'm going to share that journey with you guys. We're going to record all of the process, get some insider knowledge on the things that go into dyno tuning, because this guy is an absolute wizard at what he does. And there were a few hiccups along the way with this car being old. He did have some issues getting a proper signal. So he's done a lot of custom trick stuff to the 86 to make it work. And it sounds like I'm gonna be eating ramen for a very, very long period of time, and not the boutique kind, the one that comes in the cup noodles. So yeah, let's keep things light and happy and join me for the journey. Let's go. I'm gonna take the RS Coupe because that is my daily driver, and I'm gonna be picking up the car soon. So yeah, let's go. Let's go. I'm happy doing my happy dance. Woo! It's locked. So Joe is in the background right now. He's working on fine tuning and dynoing the 86. So we're just in the process of that. They're actually shooting like a film back there. So we're gonna give him a nice few revs of surprise. Put your guesses down for horsepower and torque numbers in the comments below. If you guys want to pause the video, I don't know if that's going to be up soon, but I'll show you guys the dyno graphs and everything. So when you were doing the runs, the multiple runs, what are you adjusting for exactly?
I was looking for optimal fuel curve. I was looking for optimum ignition timing, so I need to see how the engine responds to certain fuel mixture, how it responds to certain ignition timing, see what is ideal fuel mixture and ideal timing for the engine. Looking at the curve will tell me, based on the performance, what the engine prefers. This was 26 degrees of ignition timing. I mean, 122 horsepower.
Wow, 122 with 26 degrees?
Yeah, 122 and 105 peak torque. Those are hat passes already, back to back to back when I was going. That's the overlay with 29 degrees of timing. So you see from 5,000 and on, how much it came on top. So that's the difference, 122 to 125. So there's 3 horsepower difference. So went from 26 degrees of timing to 29 degrees of timing. And that's how much of a difference it makes.
Oh, wow.
And then I tried one pass with 31 degrees. It made the same exact power. Because there was no change between 29 degrees and 31 degrees timing, it tells me the car doesn't care for it. So for me to leave the 31 degrees timing, all I'm doing is potentially creating in a hot day a knocking point.
I see. Because it would be too...
the engine doesn't care for it. There's no reason for the timing to be there.
Yeah. Too advanced at that point, right? For no reason.
Too advanced for no reason at all, yeah. Because it makes no difference in performance. But it will potentially could create a knocking or detonation in a hot day when you know, your intake air temperature rising, your manifold is heat soaked, you know, from the hot air outside, the engine running and everything. So eventually that could promote the detonation. So there's no need for me to leave the 31 degrees of timing.
So we did multiple hot passes. That's what it's called, where you do them in a row.
Yeah.
And then
I can compare responsiveness and power curve based on what fuel curve engine likes, what ignition timing likes. So that's how I can figure out where's the happiest and establish the gray area. So the gray area, for example, when we were talking about ignition timing, it makes the same power at 29 degrees as at 31 degrees. So I know what the gray area is. It was still not knocking at 31, but it didn't make more power.
yeah.
So that's my gray area, so I was able to come back down to 29.
Do the multiple passes simulate heat soaking? Is that what's happening, or is it not enough?
In a sense, but it's not enough because my intake air temperature is still not going too crazy. The hottest I seen was like a 98 Fahrenheit, which is
Okay, yeah, it's not
it's
that-
still cool. So I have my compensation set at certain temperature. The computer will pull the timing down. Rule of thumb: anything above 150 Fahrenheit, you're talking about air temperature, will begin to promote detonation.
Ah, I see. Okay. And then when you let it cool, what is that the reason for? Is that just to see after it's cooled down how it normally
Yes,
does?
yes. The normally engine being cooler, the air being colder, always performs the best. That's your difference when you start the car and go for a run. You know, first thing in the morning where it's nice and cool air, and then once it gets you know, during the day a little warmer temperature, you feel like the car feels a little slower. And now it doesn't feel so. It is slower. It's
Yeah,
losing power.
it's
because
actually lost power.
It's hotter. And that's the same thing on a dyno. So you gotta kind of test the endurance too. Not just make a cool test and I was like, oh, that's good. No, I go back to back and test the endurance. Look for a knock. Look if the car is getting richer at certain temperature. If I should withdraw some fuel out, you know, as it getting hotter on the air temps. So there's compensation table for all of that.
So with this type of tune and build in general, let's say I'm cold starting in the morning, are there any special precautions? Do I have to wait a certain amount of time?
No, I am running a rev limiter per temperature. So when the car is cold, I am running a lower rev limiter. So if you in a cold start, you start it up, it won't let you go to red light.
Yeah.
The computer will hold you back until it's fully warm, and then it
Okay.
lets you rev to red light.
That's good.
So that's that. And of course, there's cold start compensation for the fuel, for the ignition timing. So naturally, when the car is doing a cold start and the engine is still cold, I can run more ignition timing. That not only helps to warm up the engine better, but it also helps to burn the excessive fuel from the cold start enrichment. Because any engine on a cold start requires a little bit more fuel. That's why running a little bit extra timing when it's colder helps to burn the fuel more thoroughly, all the excess fuel.
Damn, fool. So now that Joe better understands all of what the car requires now, he's doing cold passes with all of the correct settings to get the final runs in with the power rating. So we're gonna get the final power numbers with this setup.
That'll give you a prenup.
So 128 horsepower to the wheels on 109 foot-pound of torque. Very healthy numbers for a tiny 1.6 liter without VTEC. A lot of restrictions with the catalytic
We
converter.
still have some restrictions.
Yeah, the intake.
I'm sure we can make 130 plus. If
Yeah.
you'd had no cat, get rid of the flap, all combined, I'm sure we make 130 plus.
I remember you telling me that this isn't a good spot for the relocated.
Yeah, definitely
Well,
want to keep
filter.
it on top of the exhaust manifold, that's for sure.
I'm thinking of relocating the battery to the rear and then maybe having the oil filter here somewhere.
I'm sure there's room underneath that you can relocate it on the bottom somewhere. I would not relocate the battery.
No?
A lot of times when you're running the battery to the back, you have to run a lot thicker wires.
I see.
It causes a lot of resistance.
The belts are squealing, huh?
No, it's not the belt. Hoodie.
It's one of the pulleys.
Yeah, I might try to loosen up the belt. I think it's the one for the power steering and the AC compressor.
You think the tension is too much?
Could be too much. I might want to loosen up a little. Try it, see how it rests now.
Oh, it feels a lot meatier.
Different car.
Yeah, totally different car.